Outpost, search it. I think this is going to be Nekataka then. Ah, here we go. Right. Ah, there are several jobs in the ship that the crew need to fill when sailing. Every ship needs deckhands, carniers and helmans, and all the ships benefit from having a cook, surgeon and navigator. The larger ships even require a bowsman to keep the deckhand in order. To place a sail on the ship, you must be in port. Click on variable sailor from the known sailors section and move into the role. Note that each sailor has different talents, so it's a wee mini game. The crew consumes both food and drink while adventuring. Type of food and drink you feed them will adjust their morale. More expensive provisions make them happier. Cheap food. So, Mutiny, that's good. There are several jobs on the ship. The captain determines likely. Yep. I don't know about that. I have to be careful what I put up then. Okay. Righty-ho. Arrival. We're sailing past a reef with Beadle shouts out, pointing to port. There lists a ship stranded in the middle, perched on a narrow shoal. It tips or rolls with passing waves. Hanging from its mast is a blue flag showing an image of a crescent moon sinking beneath the waves. Your crew gathers around, murmuring in low, excited voices. Rum-dum rigger. The Riggeri rushes to the railing. Captain, that's a gift-bearing ship. No telling what sorts of treasures it's got. Endriff and Snort's gift-bearers carry sentimental junk, worthless stuff. No, that's a smuggler ship. It's a classic disguise. It already spits into the water. Then it's fucking then it's a fucking stupid one. Gift-bearers only visit landlocked settlements. It's a trap. Thoughts? Frowns and says nothing. Go rubs his chin. I've heard rumour that some gift bearers operate as smugglers on the side. I suppose it's possible they're carrying something of value. We're smuggling just as easy as Kif. Easier, maybe. Licking her bottom lip, Xoti studies a seemingly stranded vessel. Serafen strokes his braided beard beneath a quiet smirk. It's a trap, Captain. Ship is too smashed to shit for that. Might be too smashed to shit for salvage too. Serafen scratches the back of his head as he peers at the vessel. Let's go aboard. You row the skiff above the reefs, the waves tossing it to the bottom of the small boat, occasionally scraping across the jagged surface structure below. You tie off a snag of coral next to the wreck. The water is rough and the hull slick with brine. You're able to find perches between the shifting planks. Climb up. You row the skiff above the reefs, the waves tossing it, the bottom of the small boat occasionally scraping across the jagged structure below. You tie off a snag of coral next to the wreck. The water was rough and the hull slick with brine. Well, I've done that. You pull yourself up using bent knees and barnacles for holds. You almost reach the main deck when a wave slams against the ship. You hear a crash from somewhere below as the vessel rocks. Your legs slip out from under you and your fingers dig into the wet lumber. The grip holds. Once the ship settles, you resume your climb and make it to the safety of the deck. The ship is deserted and you don't even find corpses. If the ship had a skiff, it's missing too. Search. Medicine and ammunition. You find several crates of supplies and several more assorted odds and ends. Handkerchiefs, beard jewellery, cracked scrimshaw, a child's doll. Think back at Eldring's comments and wonder if it might have been smugglers' vessels after all. That's streetwise. Well, we'll definitely go perception. Should be able to get that. Frowning, Eder points out a series of scuff marks along the deck, as if the box of junk has been moved repeatedly over the same spot. You slide it aside and find a trapdoor underneath. Within rests a small chest brimming with golden shillings. Smugglers after all. Among the coins rests a small figurine of an imp, of all things. Oh, cool. Ah. Oh, cool. You load your find onto the skiff and row back to the ship. Cha-ching! I didn't remember these other places.
The ring of a bell comes to you on a cold wind. The ring comes again and again, until soon the air is full with the sound of 1,000 bells ringing all at once. You are alone. And then you are not. An indistinct figure stands before you, flickering between forms like a fire-cast shadow. A fixed, taunting grin. Bottomless black eyes. A yawning chasm in the earth. The aspects of Berith, the Usher and the Pallid Knight, shift in and out of focus. And at their back, 4 indistinct shades hover. You feel an eternity stretch out behind each of them, reaching back to places so distant and yet so near you cannot comprehend their size. The shifting image of Berith settles on the aspect of the Pallid Knight.
Watcher.
Her voice is the discordant clangor of gongs struck out of time.
I tasked you to discover Aethys's intentions. Tell me what you have learned.
It's too early to be sure what he plans, but his behaviour is suspicious.
I remind you of our bargain. Time is short, and your soul dangles in the balance.
Her wan face contorts into what, on mortal kith, might be called a smile. On her, the effect is more akin to a rotting pumpkin caving in upon itself.
Oh, lovely.
Do not give me cause to doubt your commitment, Watcher.
The figure nearest Berith dissolves and reforms in the image of a thin-lipped, ancient crone, whose face has felt the melting kiss of fire. The goddess Wodika strides forward.
So they're in league with each other, aren't they?
Does Aethys frighten you, Berith? He should. Margron subdued Aethys's influence once before, and yet he returned.
From out of Wodika's shadow shuffles a hunched, bald man you recognize as the god Scan. His skin is mapped with swollen lash scars, and breath whistles through the ragged hole in his face where his nose once was. He does not speak, but stares up at Wodika with naked loathing plain on his ruined face. Wotica steeples her long, knob-jointed fingers.
We must annihilate Aethys now, before he makes a rash decision we cannot easily annul.
She casts a sly look at the pallid night from the corners of her eyes.
A moon would do the job nicely.
Pretty sure we need that. Or stoic. I'm pretty sure we need that.
A voice echoes from the shape nearest Bereth.
The lava is too large to be moved, and Koltha too quick to be caught, even for a god of Wotica's strength and apparent lunacy.
The figure beside the aspect of Bereth flows forward in a swirling cloud of ash. The ash falls to the tiles and reveals a molten-skinned woman, leaning on a monstrous, wicked-edged broadsword.
Body war in I'm gonna assume.
Magran's glowing lips curl in disdain.
We must find a solution to the problem of Aethys that is neither do nothing, nor destroy the world. I acted in haste during the Saints' War. You will not goad me into doing the same
Come
now.
on. No fun.
To move against him while his plans are unknown would be the height of foolishness. We must find wisdom in precaution.
Let's just put it back. What kind of precautions do you suggest?
Magran looks at you as one might a wayward gob of spit on one's shin.
Oh, lovely.
It is no business of yours what the gods decide.
Well, why are you speaking to me then?
Another of the silent figures steps forward, and the warm, golden light of a summer's afternoon spills across
The
your
Lady
face.
of Healing.
Let's
Hell
all
yeah.
take a deep, calming breath. Perhaps cooler heads will prevail.
Behind Helia's words,
Helia's.
you hear the soft coo of doves.
Aethys has been separated from us for too long. Isn't it possible he intends only to gather enough souls to reclaim his realm in the beyond? He should be welcomed.
You look up then into avian eyes. Through them, you see clouds of starlings converge and divide.
Right, what if he intends to betray you?
Helia puts a feathered hand to her chest.
He wouldn't. Betrayal is not in his nature.
Scan shuffles forward.
Yes.
Yes.
We should welcome Aethys' return to the fold. His gratitude we can leverage to cajole him into divulging his plot. Then, when he believes himself to be in our good graces, we do as Wotica suggests, and crush him into the earth.
Scan pauses, inspecting you.
And here is the Watcher who killed Lord Haran, the man who tormented his dear niece.
I didn't kill him.
Alice.
I defended myself.
Curious.
Defended.
Scan licks the ragged edge of his lipless mouth and grins, then turns to Helia.
I did not expect such a deliciously ruthless idea from you, Helia. I am impressed.
Helia's feathered crest stands on end.
You wretched little creature.
Attempting to end Eothas only make things worse.
Your point is well made, little Watcher. If self-evident, Aethys has not been known to possess a vindictive nature. Indeed, he has occasionally been magnanimous to a fault. However, if we push him to the brink of reason, there is no telling what he may do. He is, as ever, unpredictable.
Something akin to fondness creeps into her voice.
Then what's the point of this exercise?
The pallid knight gestures for silence.
Aethys cannot be killed, but he may be subdued. Yet to do so will take immense power and time.
Okay.
Both stand in his favor.
Magran grits her black glass teeth.
That is why we must ascertain his plans before he has the chance to put them into motion.
She begins to pace. Her steps leave little trails of fire in her wake.
What the fuck?
Magran stops and balls her hands into flaming fists.
Even if we manage to destroy his current form, there is the possibility he could return, if he has not already absorbed all of his children.
Children? What? 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 Absorbs his children? I don't understand.
The pallid night casts a cold, cutting glare in Magran's direction.
Magran speaks too freely. That knowledge is beyond your ken, Watcher.
Wodica waves the gods to silence.
Aethys gathers strength. His strength is a threat to us.
Her voice takes on a sharp, almost panicked edge.
There is no sensible answer to the question of a resurgent Aethys other than decisive, final action.
There is no cause to act now.
Your opinion is unasked for, but noted.
So then,
Pallid
kinda
Knight
asked,
says.
you know what I'm saying?
We will act when it is appropriate to do so, and not before.
Okay.
The pallid knight steps away from the half circle of assembled gods. She pulls herself up to a great height. The words she speaks next come not from her mouth, but from all around you.
Follow him, Watcher.
The black of the pallid knight's irises expand until her eyes are as dark and cold as the void between stars. She bends down and brings her ghostly face level with your own.
Your debt to me remains unpaid.
I will be stoic.
She stares at you, unblinking. Like a needle drawn to a magnet, you are pulled toward her one compulsory step at a time. You blink open your eyes and find yourself on the floor of your ship's cabin. Alone.
Hello. I hope this will find you in good health. It has been many summons now since we first arrived in Gildefell. Much has changed in these years for both of us. I don't know if you remember me, but the day you came to my door, it's not one I will forget. For months afterwards, I wrestled with my faith and my fear, and still the gods have blessed me with a son. He is healthy and strong, and already so curious. Of the Gildefell dotes upon him. I have told him of you. He asks constantly after the Witcher who restored his spirit, and hopes one day to meet you. Until then, know that we keep you in our prayers. Your most graceful servant, Aufra. Aufra. Did they speak much?
On it.
Ship life sure is an adventure, ain't it? Just think of all the places we can sail to, all the sights we could see. This is nothing like being stuck on a farm, or cloistered in the back of a temple.
Xoti wraps her sickle against his thigh as she studies the boat's layout. Satisfied by whatever she sees, she tilts her head to you with a small smile.
Tell me what's on your mind?
How you feeling?
They're there in my head when I sleep. And sometimes I can taste them on the back of my tongue.
Same old,
Watcher,
same
thing,
old.
Watcher.
Same old, same old. I've got like 2 people here. Oh, thanks, Captain.
What's gnawing you? I want the destruction to stop. I want him to finish what he's doing and then go in peace. Only I don't see it playing out that way.
I wish you'd maintained my story in front of Vanessa and the others.
He looks at you reproachfully, his eyes and mouth tight with disapproval.
I didn't enjoy deceiving them, but it seemed simpler than the alternative.
Keeping up a lie is never simple. Keeping up a lie is never simple. You should know better than anyone.
Believe me, I take no pleasure in duplicity.
What exactly were you doing out there?
After we parted, I set out to destroy the leaden key. It's controlled us for too long. I wanted to free Kith from it. So for 5 years, I've been tracking down leaden key circles, searching for the places where they operate in secret.
He knits his brows. Slutty eyes gleam with a dark amusement.
Trying to undo them.
Just make sure you can never again commit an atrocity like the White One's legacy. And how's it been going?
The task has been more difficult than I anticipated.
Oh.
I don't think I fully understood the weight of the decisions I would have to make, or the burden of living with them. It was much easier when I only had to follow someone else's lead. My father's, Theos's, yours.
He glances at you at the corner of his eye. Is there some way I can help, or be stoic? There's some way I can help.
I wish I knew. After we defeated Theos, I thought the hard part of undoing his work would be tracking down the Leaden Key's members and operations.
But
perhaps this would be easier with an example.
Yep.
I went to a village in Old Avelia, a run-down backwater of a place. Centuries ago, the Leaden Key had intervened to end some heretical cult. The details were lost, but what had endured was a practice of ritual bloodletting. A gruesome, pointless tradition.
he grimaces.
At every full moon, the villagers would feed the soil with their blood. No one, young or old, sick or hale, was exempt.
They must have had some purpose in mind.
Yes, but the specifics depended on whom you asked.
It seems pleased. What's that? Traditional.
Some thought it would ward off Scan, or bring Bereth's favor on the village, or Gon's blessing to their crops.
He shrugs.
The village priest administered the practice. Grim old fellow. Reminded me of Theos.
He raises an eyebrow at you.
He was a tyrant. I was certain that if the villagers were free of his influence, they'd be free from the bloodletting too. So I arranged for him to have an accident.
He gives you a shy look. Well, it seems like one of Fail's dirty tricks. I expect you to act with honor.
I did it for the right reasons. Not that this changed much. The old man died, and the villagers were terrified. They were convinced his death was an ill omen. They blamed it, and every other mishap that befell them, on their lack of faith. So they began bloodletting every week, turning on their neighbors for giving too little.
His lips twist, as if words themselves have a bitter taste.
Instead of a handful dying each year, a few perished every week.
He's worked the edge of his sash into a tight knot. He clenches it between pale, rigid fingers. And now you feel responsible. Is that it?
I had to do something, didn't I?
Turns to you with wide, anguished eyes. He pauses again, untwisting the sash at his lap.
I keep wondering what I might have done differently, or how I could have known better.
Learning from mistakes like this is a good start.
I suppose so. I should get some rest. It's been a long day, and you've given me a lot to think about.
Wait, you still haven't told me about what Animasters had to do with any of this.
Ah, that.
He massages his temples.
I'm looking for an old Leaden Key sect. I've found several references, but...
He shakes off, shaking his head.
I want to be sure. Please, let me go over my notes again. Then I promise I'll tell you everything.
Yeah, we'll talk more later then. On the ship. I get lag everywhere else.
What's a bilge swallow?
That's what be a bilge swallow, little lass. And it be a swabby fathom-headed enough to drink from the bilge.
You talk funny, Uncle Serafen.
You know, lass, each time you call me that, you be aging me 3/2 a year. Ahoy, Captain. Truth be told, Ferrante half expects us to get our asses blown out of the water at Fort Deadlight. Fortunately for you, I have this bad habit of beating the odds. Of course, I do that by way of good old traditional chicanery. And the most important part of any hornswoggle? Solid planning. Well, that and surviving.
What can you tell me about Fort Deadlight?
Valian made originally. Piled them stones up a few centuries back, but gave it up when the fishmen wouldn't leave them be. Hard to defend against wilder crawling up out of your crappers.
Oh,
Captain Aldiz claimed it a few years back. Fucking filthy from bow to stern. And she had her lads and lasses cleaning fish shit out of the floorboards for months.
lovely.
A couple of them thought he might be better sailing elsewhere and left in the night. Aldiz tracked them down quick as you like, took their heads, and fixed them into little lanterns for the front gate. Called them Fort Deadlight's Deadlights. They say she ain't had a deserter since. Tad cruel for my taste. But I admit to admiring the wordplay.
Do you know anything about the fort's defences?
Funny thing about it being a fort means it ain't a boat. Means it don't have to worry about the way the cannons are storing honking big balls. Guns they got crowning that castle put a hole in your poop deck before you've sighted land.
He sighs and scuffs his boots against the floor.
Fort itself be floor to ceiling rum-sodden fools, so that be going for us. But Aldi's keeps the crew on the walls sharp and sober. One blast of their horns and Deadlight's locked up tight as an Eder mugger night. We'll stay that way too, till any unfamiliar ships have been shot to shit and shot again.
What do you know of Aedelis?
She's sharp as shit, that one. Tongue, mind, and ears alike. Sailed out of Deerwood or Adir one. Knows her knots and how to crew a ship that won't turn sour. The words ring out among the Principe, more than you'd think for new blood. Part of that's her fierce support of freedom, from slavers, from the empires, from the Huana's caste system even. The rest a lenient hand. Step out of line and Ferrante's got your old crew up for lashes. Aldiz, though, she's, let's say there's a reason she attracts limp-cocked nut twists like bandwidth. Can't say I much approve of a lack of regard for our traditions, but, can't say I don't share her vexations with Ferrante and the old garden either.
He runs a furred paw over his braided beard. Why are you so frustrated with the old guard?
Shit, Captain. Buy a lad a drink before you go rooting through his
He
unmentionables.
smiles though, thumbs hooked in his belt.
Let's leave it enough for now to say I think there be a course to be charted betwixt anarchy and tyranny.
You mentioned your contacts, Fort.
Oh, I did say contacts, didn't I?
Serafen rubs the back of his head as he takes a sudden studious interest in his boots.
Contact would be more accurate, in the singular. A lass by the name of Siri. Been running the same circles for years, doldrums and fair winds. We're never family, but never on the wrong ends of arms neither. Might have shaken the sheets a few months back.
Woo-hoo.
Regardless of how she feels about me, there's no love lost betwixt her and Benwith, that's for damn certain.
Contacting some random lover of yours?
Ugh, random? What do you take me for, Captain?
More useful than you look.
Oh, mighty kind of you, Captain, given how useful I look.
He winks his thumbs in his belt. Let's go over this plan into Fort Deadly.
Deadlight's a tough coconut to crack. But if not cracking, what are nuts for?
Think you'll sneak her way in?
Might be there's a way to sneak inside. Bet we can find a shady spot to tie up a skiff under the veil of night. Then up the walls and over, quick as you please. Sussing out a place to land without being spotted ourselves will require Helia's own eyes. Or a spyglass. You've got a spyglass, I hope.
I didn't have a spyglass.
Oh, then let me recommend you remedy yourself there, Captain. A good spyglass, be like a good lover. Shows you the bits you'd have missed otherwise.
Don't you have a spyglass?
Yeah, sure, used to. Then I made the mistake of lending it to Ferrante. Apparently forgot it weren't his.
A low growl bells beneath his grumbling.
Showed him the S I carved into it and he turned around and told me it stood for spyglass. There's an important lesson to be learned there. Deadlight's a tough coconut to crack. But if not cracked, if you insist on the straightforward approach, you could always load the old with powder and balls and hope the walls of Deadlight give before your hull. Here's hoping you've practiced your breaststroke, savvy?
Savvy?
If you breach the walls, you still got the guards to attend to. Adding to that a mess of pirates in multitudinous states of insobriety. And probably dress. I'm all ears, Captain. Deadlight's a tough coconut to crack. But if not, smart play for crashing any party involves scavenging yourself up an invite. And then dressing to impress.
He puffs out his trash, thumb tucked into his fine fabric cover shirt. So look the part.
Aye, Captain, from stem to stern. Looking the part in this case means hoisting colours identifying us as Principe.
Left ear twitches.
Don't have to tell you how dangerous such a bit of fabric can be if the wrong person catches you flying it.
How hard could it to purchase a flag?
Well, Principe captains don't just give up their flags for a few coins.
He scratches his rump, head cocked to one side.
Nekataka's black market. If there be a Principe flag for sale, it'll be there. Mark it up and relocates every so often to avoid the Royal Guard. We'll just have to find wherever it currently be anchored.
Then we'll attack the Principe ship and capture their flag.
Swapping cannonballs with my fellow Principe ain't my favourite idea you've ever had. But do what you have to do, Captain.
Got three options.
Might be tricky to not damage the flag in battle, or sink the ship on accident. I'm all ears, Captain.
Do you have a...
Deadlight's a tough coconut to crack. But if not cracking, what are nuts for? Smart play for crashing any party involves scavenging yourself up an invite. And then dressing to impress. No, Captain, they do not.
He rubs the bridge of his nose and sighs.
Looking the part in this case means hoisting colours identifying us as Principe. Don't have to tell you how dangerous such a bit of fabric can be if the wrong person catches you flying it.
So we'll get attacked whilst we have it, right.
I'm all ears, Captain.
Do you have a plan in mind to get us into the fort?
Oh, you be asking me for a plan. Frankly, I were curious to witness how the famed Watcher of Cadnua would penetrate the impenetrable. But since you asked, just give me a tick.
Ozzy strokes one of the beard's praise.
Vast. I might have pulled a plan out of this hairy blue ass after all.
Lovely.
Way I see it, we have an option or two ranging from the wildly dangerous to the fantastically suicidal. So tell you me, Cap, what be your preferred approach to problems unapproachable?
You simply outsmart my adversaries.
Smart play for crashing any party involves scavenging yourself up an invite, and then dressing to impress. Looking the part in this case means hoisting colours identify. Don't have to tell you how dangerous. I'm all ears, Captain. Later, sure. No hurry here to ship off back to the general.
I'll get a spyglass and get the colours and I'll figure out what I want to do after that, I guess.